Hello, YouTubers, fellow hams, whoever else might be watching. Well, I'm going to catch heck for this one, but it has to happen. So, about a week ago, I went up to Quartz site for Quartz Fest, the big ham radio gathering. Got there a couple of days before the event started. And I went around and shot a little bit of video, a little overview video with the drone. By Sunday, when they did the opening meeting, which I again got the drone out for so you could see the gathering and see all the RVs that are out there, they had over 400 people registered already. And that was Sunday. That was just the opening meeting. Monday was the official first day of the event. Monday morning, I came out with my camera and I saw this massive crowd of people that were milling about already. And I've always been anxious about crowds, but for some reason it was different. It hit me hard, really hard. I was gripped by an anxiety and almost a fear that I've never felt before. And I retreated back in the RV to think about it. And well, it was really just kind of a peak, a culmination of things that all hit me at once. Bear with me a moment. All my life, I've had several interests that have occupied my time, my spare time, my hobby time. Photography, sound and recording, 3D printing later on, electronics, ham radio. Several things, that I've always enjoyed, and music, and spent my time on. Handcrafting stuff out of wood and PVC. I made a bunch of flutes one year. Just different interests. And for the past 4 years, every day, all day, every day, has been nothing but ham radio occupying my mind because of the channel, coming up with things for the channel that week. When I would get an itch to play around with sound, well, I couldn't spend 3 days working on a project with sound. I had to spend those 3 days trying to come up with something new for the channel. And it was ham radio every day, every day, every day. Over this past year, I've been depressed a lot, and it's been harder and harder, and I realized I'm getting close to burning out. Burnout's a real thing. And I think it finally just came to a head that morning there at Quartz Fest, and I left. I came back down here to Senator Wash to think about things, my situation. Where do I go from here? I can't let myself completely burn out on ham radio. I just can't, And so I've decided to make a change. Earlier on when I started the channel, it had a variety of things, whatever I was interested in at the time. If I was making recordings, I talked about recordings. If I was building some little stroboscopic lighting effect, I did that. And then somewhere along the line, as the audience grew into ham radio primarily, I focused on that because this is my income. This is what's keeping me going, what's keeping me alive out here. I have various physical problems that have limited my ability to hold down an 8-to-5 job. And honestly, I would probably qualify for disability, but if I can earn my keep, if I can use my abilities and skills to earn my living, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to live off the charity of others and a stipend, That's not until I absolutely have to. And so for the past 4 years, as I said, every day, I had to think about ham radio and what to do for the channel that week. I'm going to change that. The channel's going to go more in the route that it was initially. I'm going to give my other interests their due attention for my own sanity. And that's what the content's going to reflect. I'm not abandoning ham radio. There will still be ham radio content, but it's going to be mixed in with other things. Like right now, I'm interested in recording and sound manipulation and sound design, and there's probably going to be a couple videos coming up on sound design and tricks and tips on things you can do with the open source tools like Audacity that will be educational. I mean, it's going to be content that will be useful to people that are interested in those things. It's not just going to be waste of time. Well, I guess it depends on your interest, whether or not you consider it a waste of time. As always, the video titles, the first couple of words in the video title are the subject. It'll say ham radio dash what the video's about, or electronics dash what the video's about. So if I produce a video that you're not interested in, you don't have to watch it. It's right there in the title. If you're not interested in sound design, skip that one. Now I realize that I'm going to take a hit on subscribers and Patreon supporters. I realize that. There's a lot of people that are here for ham radio exclusively, and a lot of those people are probably going to leave, and I understand that. I absolutely understand that. If you're a Patreon supporter and you don't like this change and you're going to leave, feel free to do so, and the only thing you have from me is my gratitude for the time that you were here. No ill will. It might make life a little difficult for me for a while. I mean, I know eventually the audience will shift, things will come back up, and I'll probably still be able to earn enough to survive out here and keep going. Might have to carve into my meager savings a bit this year to get by, but I'll survive. What's more important is for me is I would say my mental health, but that sounds a bit extreme. My peace of mind, my ability to produce is not going to be hampered by locking myself into just one subject when my interests are varied, So yeah, I am sorry to the guys that were waiting for my Quartz Fest reporting. Dave Ogg, of Ask Dave fame, is there, and Randy K7AGE. Oh, I'm sorry, Randy, I can't remember your call off the top of my head. Randy is there, and I'm sure that they'll be providing plenty of Quartz Fest videos. There's probably going to be a few others. I'll link Randy and Dave's video channels in the description below, so if you want to know what was going on with Quartz Fest this week, I'm sure that they'll have content plenty in the coming week. The internet up there was not usable. It was 6 to 8 kilobits per second rate because there's just so many people up there, so much activity. Oh gosh, the 2 days that I were there, I hardly got any sleep. There was generators and motors and car horns and people's voices and just all kinds of activity and noise, which many people like. I have become kind of a hermit. I like the peace and quiet. I like the serenity and the solace of the silence of the desert right now, and all that activity was just suppression. It was a suppression of my mind. That sounds weird, doesn't it? So anyway, yeah, I am sorry for not providing Quartz Fest coverage this year. Go ahead and slam me in the comments, slam that thumbs down button, take your anger out on it if you wish, but I just couldn't do it. So moving forward, the channel's going to be a little more varied, and it's still going to have, travel, and I'm going to do more photography of the areas I'm at. I've done some of that, but I'm going to do a little more focus on documenting the places I go to. I'm building a binaural mic rig to do ambient 3-dimensional VR for the ears type of binaural recordings of the various places I go to too. Sort of document the biome there, the sound, the acoustic experience of being in the woods in Colorado or Kentucky or wherever I end up, as I travel. And, there's going to be stuff like that. There's going to be more projects. I'm going to build things. And I'm going to finish building the Flea transmitter. Maybe when I get up to my quiet spot in the middle of February, when I go up to my little spot away from everybody, I seem to be more productive when I'm there. It seems like some of the best builds that I've done have been while I'm there, when I'm not distracted by other people around me. So, you know, I might finish the flea there. Soon after that, I'm sure I'll have Zactec's commercial version of it. Harry will send me a completed one, and I can review that and talk about his variant. I might redesign the output section on mine with a transistor instead of the 7400 logic chip, just because it'll be easier for me to solder it. I've blown 2 boards trying to solder up the build of the flea. My hands are just not stable anymore, and soldering in those little tiny spaces between the pins of the chip, I couldn't do it. I tried really hard, but I can't do that anymore. I'm physically losing my abilities, and it's really starting to hamper me. But I will get it finished probably when I'm up there. So yeah, that's the big news. I'm sure a lot of you are disappointed. Some of you maybe not. But I have to do this. I've hit the wall. I've hit the point of burnout on ham radio, and I can't let myself go there. I've got to change so that I can keep on doing ham radio stuff, along with everything else that I'm interested in. So that's the big bombshell. Have at me. Go ahead. Let me have it. I know a lot of you are really pissed at me, but that's what's happening. So we'll see you in the next video, which is probably going to be on sound and a trick you can do with Audacity that lets you explore a hidden world in sounds that are all around you. That's, I think, really interesting, and perhaps many of you will find interesting. Also, you know, this is going to be good for the overall video production down the road. The things that I'm going to learn as I explore more in recording and sound will apply to future videos, you know, and I'll be sharing tricks and tips on video editing and production that I learned too, that how you can enhance your videos. So, you know, there's going to be interesting stuff down the road, I'm sure. Okay, that's it. I've talked long enough. We'll see you in the next video, whatever it may be.